Hey guys, this week's project is going to be doing the Great American Wavy Flag. I've done this project before, I put it on video, but I don't think a whole lot of people seen it. It's my first one. This time I'm going to show you how to do it, getting the materials for free, and a couple new ways of doing it from last time. Alright guys, keep on watching. Okay, here's some of my stash. All these 2x4s came off of a skid from where I work. Okay, just cut them up. I'm going to plane them all down, cut them all square. I'm not going to do all of them on this video though, I'm just doing enough to make one flag. Here's another pile. My great Aunt Sue was tearing some stuff out of her basement. She said, "Hey David, would you like these 2x4s? Well, yeah, I'm going to take them. I'm going to pull all the screws and stuff out, and I'm going to use them to make flags." Let me tell you, I'm not going to have you watch me pull screws and nails out though, okay? Alright, see ya. Okay guys, I've got all the nails pulled. Here's what we got. People might say, "Are you cheap? Is that why you're tearing these all apart?" Well, no, I'm not cheap. I just don't want to see this stuff all going to landfill when it's going to end up being a beautiful piece of art. Okay, now here's some of the other stuff. This is going to be firewood, so everything's getting burned or used. Okay, now I'm going to cut these pieces into 37-inch pieces. Hopefully there's enough to make 13 of them. Alright, let's see what we got. Okay, the stop's set. 37 inches. Here we go. Continue on. Alright guys, as you can see, I got them all cut up into 37-inch pieces, and they worked out just perfect. I had 13 of them. The rest is going to firewood. There's the union on there. Now if you look, you can see the radiuses on all this wood. So what I'm going to do is set up my table saw, and I'm going to cut these square so there's no radiuses on them. So they'll probably end up being about 3 inches or something like that. I'll show you what I'm talking about when I'm done. Alright guys, the table saw is set at 3 3/8. Okay, I'm going to run one side through, and then I'm going to run the other side through at about 3 1/4. Here we go. Pretty good. See how it squared it up just a little bit. Okay? Alright guys, I ran them all through. I had 2 of them that were pretty twisted, so I just put them to the firewood. And I've got 2 more out of my stash over there that I showed you earlier. So now I'm going to move this over to 3 inches. And I'm going to cut the other side. That'll give me a nice square edge. Okay, there we go. Now you can see the edges are nice and square. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to run them through my planer just to square them up a bit. Alright guys, I got squared up both sides. Now I'm going to clean up this side and this side on my planer. These are unnecessary steps guys, but I like to take them, knock off the high spots like right where that little knot is. I'll knock it off, and it will screw up my planer blades, but really the only thing I use it for is my flags. So that's the next step. See how square that is now? When I go to put them all together, they're going to sit nice and flat. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, I made this little square area on my bench for lining up my flag. I put my flag in there, put them all up square, put the bar clamps on them. Funny story, I've been walking around these bar clamps for the last 10 flags. They were 4 foot long. Literally took me 1 minute to cut them off with my reciprocating saw. I know I could have bought shorter ones, but I just didn't feel like going out. Alright, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to mark it up for carving. That's, you guys will like this. Alright. Alright guys, here's the flag all clamped together. It's 19 by 37, plus or minus a little bit. Every flag I do is just a little bit different. That's what makes things cool, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, here's the union. That's where it's going. Now when I'm carving, I try to only put a couple little valleys in the union area because tracing these stars out and everything can be difficult if you have it too aggressive. I get more aggressive with my carving down in this area. You can see I marked these up here. This is the area I'm going to start carving. I usually do 3 valleys. There, there, and over here. And then I'll start working off of that, doing my carving and everything. Now, one of the things I've changed since I started doing them, I used to use this chainsaw blade, and it works, but it's a little scary to tell you the truth. You can see if it flies off of there or something, you're in trouble. Of course, if anything flies off your angle grinder, you're in trouble. But now I've changed over to this Arbortech. Very nice. It's got 3 carbide teeth on it. I took the guard off. It's not a good idea to take your guard off. I do it at my own risk, and I put the handle on and all that. And then I just start carving away on it. I'll show you a little bit of me carving because I don't want to bore you guys carving the whole thing. And then we'll be back. Alright guys, I about got this done with the TurboTech. Turbo Plane, as they call it, by Arbortech. I'm using the DeWalt angle grinder. One thing I'll tell you, I don't like about the DeWalt is that the chips seem to get sucked into the on-off switch, so I have to actually unplug it and then blow it out there to get it to work. I don't know what's up with that. But I do blow it out often, the vents and everything on here with air. When you're using this, if you use it, try to carve between the 1 and 3 o'clock area. It seems to be the safest bet. You don't want to be carving over here or down here. You want to keep it right in here. The best thing to do is watch a video by Arbortech, and they'll tell you how to do it and everything. And one thing they will tell you, don't take your guard off. Okay. Let me show you what I got here. Okay, so here you can see this is where the union's going. So I kept one nice even swoop going over that. So I'll be able to lay my template out real nice. Then as I got down further, I got a little more aggressive. And I still got to go over it and sand it with like 80 grit. Then I'll go to 120, and then I'll end up, 120 is about as low as I'll go on this. You'll see me do all that. There you can see how it looks. Alright, next up, sanding with a flap wheel. Alright guys, here's what we're going to do now. I've got it all roughed in with my TurboTech. Carved it all in. It looks pretty rough right now. Now I'm going to go with this. This is 36 grit. I call it a flap wheel. About what you want. Get them at Harbor Freight, Lowe's, anywhere. What I used to use is this. And I found this works much better. I just like it better, so that's what I'm going to use. Also, make sure you put on your headphones and wear a mask too, because you're going to be breathing in a bunch of stuff. Now I'm going to show you what this finish looks like before I start, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm done. There's no reason for you to watch me do it all because it'll get a little boring. So, here we go. Okay, this is what it looks like after I'm using the Turbo Tech, or Turbo Arbor or something like that. That's what she's looking like. I'm going to sand all of this out, smooth it all out with that flap wheel. See how it's all tore up on the edges? And then after that, I will go over with my disc sander orbital and get a little more. Alright, I'll show you what it looks like in a few minutes. Alright guys, I've been sanding for about a half hour now with this. I've got all the big divots out and everything. And I think I'm going to go to my palm sander now with like 60 grit. Let me show you the finish I got now though. Whew. Okay, now I don't know if you can tell or not from the last one, but it is smoothed out a lot. I got all the big tear marks out of it. You see a few little divots in there still, but that'll come out with my palm sander. And yeah, this makes a lot of dust. I try to use my dust collector as best I can to suck some of the dust out, but so you're going to get full of dust doing this no matter what. And yes, I go through a lot of furnace filters doing it out here. You want to keep that furnace clean, blow it out, all that good stuff. Alright, I'm going to put the palm sander on. We'll see what we got. Alright, so I've been sanding probably another 40 minutes on it, which makes it about hour and 15 minutes I've been sanding, and I'm on 60 grit. My next one's going to be 120 grit, but after a 9-hour day in the shop, hour and a half out here, I still have to walk the dog, it's dark out, I'm getting tired. I am 60, you know. Anyway, I'm going to give you a close-up shot of what I'm trying to sand out with my 60 grit. So, hold on a sec. Okay, I'm not quite sure you can see this. I think you can. See these lines right here? That's what I'm sanding out with my 60 grit. Oh, I'm smoothing everything out too, don't get me wrong. But you really don't want to see any of them lines in there, because when you go to varnish, them are really going to show up. So it takes some time. But hey, you're out here to have fun and relax. So do it. Remember, this wood here was headed for the landfill not too long ago. Now check it out. It's becoming a beautiful American flag. Alright, check out this. This piece of green, once it's finished and burned and everything, look at that one. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. Alright, I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to walk my dog. Oh, one more thing. All my sawdust, suck up in that big bag there, it all goes to my friend's daughter's chicken house. So all my stuff basically is getting reused again. So, alright, that's enough of my BSing. Look at all that sawdust. Okay guys, what you just saw me doing is smoothing up these ends with the belt sander a little bit. I'm all done sanding this. I went from, well, you see me with the flap sander, then I went to 60, then I did 80, then I did 120 on the whole thing. Now I'm going to take it over to my bench soon, mark the back of it, and I'll be taking this apart. Before I do, I'm going to show you a few things on this flag. Alright folks, what I'm going to end up doing is taking this whole thing apart and doing even some more sanding. So far I've sanded probably about 3.5 hours on this after I carved it. So if you don't like sanding, this might not be the project for you. Now if you look, you'll see this all the way down. You'll see that in a few spots here. Here's another spot here. It's nothing to be concerned about, because by the time I'm done with this flag, this is all going to lend to the character of it. Well, I'm going to round all these edges over on my sander and everything. There's some more right there. All that'll be taken care of. Okay, and there's a little screw holes in here. I'm not worried about that. That's from that old wood. This here, from that old wood. That's all character to me. Alright, guys. Alright, guys. So we got it up here on the bench. I gotta take it all apart, and you're probably thinking, how the hell is he gonna keep everything perfect like that so it doesn't look odd when he puts it back together? Alright, if you remember I said go smoothly here where the union's going. Now you can see how it lays nice and flat on there. Can you imagine putting it over here where it's all, look at that, you see how it's laying? It's all nasty. So keep the union area nice and smooth. Now here's how we're gonna take it apart. Flip it over. If you need a workout, make wavy flags, because they're not light. That's that right there. I'm going to come over on the other side, because now the union is upside down. Oh. Alright, I'm going to take, we'll put my square here nice and square along this edge, and I'm just going to run a line. Okay, flip it over, square it up, run your line. Okay, now you're going to label them, okay? Start at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always hope there's going to be 13 when I'm done counting. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Man, if there ain't 13, I'm in big trouble, guys. Okay, now, quite simply, take your bar clamps off. Just like that. Just like that. There you go, all ready to come apart. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this over to my rigid belt sander, and I'm going to do all these edges. I'm going to round them all over, and it'll look pretty cool when it's done. Alright, that'll be the next step. Okay guys, I've already rounded off the edges of 12. I'm going to show you the last one. You look here, see how it's squared up there pretty nice. What I'm going to do is gouge it all up with this drum sander. You might think, what the heck is he doing? But no, that's not the case. Here we go. Now don't be afraid to gouge it in a little bit. I mean, don't get carried away, but round them edges over. Gouge it in, make it look a little bit worn, rusted. And when you put the torch on it, it's going to look cool. I try to burn the edges just a little bit more than the third part. Here's what we got. Now you can see how it roughed it up. There's a little bit of burry stuff, furry type, but when I put the torch on, it's going to burn that right off of there and it'll look real nice. I'm going to show you an aerial view of it in a second. Okay, I'm going to start the helicopter up and give you all an aerial view. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We're over the top now, serious. You can see how I rounded them all. It looks pretty cool. Like I said, when it's all burned and everything, it's going to look good. Remember when I told you not to worry about all them little gaps and stuff that are in there? Well, that's why. Now when I screw it all together, it's going to all tighten up just like that. See that? Now it's going to tighten right on up, and you won't have any gaps in it at all by the time I get it screwed together. All right, there we go. Check it out. It's looking good. I think I'm going to take Friday off, which is tomorrow. Saturday I'm going to come out and I'm going to start burning it and staining it. All right. Okay, guys. I'm burning the flag right now using the benzomatic. Just a regular torch tip on it. And what you want to do, I'm holding the camera so it's a little difficult. Get your edges, just like I do on my flat flags. Now that's the part that I sanded on that drum sander, rounding it over. Now on number 1 and number 13, you want to make sure you do the top and the bottom. Here we go. There's the bottom of 13. Okay. Now I'm going to burn the face of it now. Just move your torch along nice and easy. Just like so. And how much burn you put on it, like I said with my traditional flags too, is up to you. I like to put a little bit of a heavy burn on there. I think it looks pretty nice when all is said and done. I'm doing pretty good holding the camera. There we go. Alright. There we go. I've got them all burned. I'm going to put it in place. There you go. Now you can see why I said don't worry about if you got little gaps or anything. Look at that. See how I burned it? It looks pretty cool right where all the gaps are going to be. Nice, ain't it? Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up to start staining them. But first I'm going to go in and have an egg roll. Alright, see y'all. Okay folks, what I did now is I squared these up on my bench. I got a 1x right there. And then I have my square that I made to fit my bench. And I'm going to slide all my flag pieces up into here so they're nice and square. And then I'm going to put my stencil for the union on. All right. Okay, I got the stencil taped on. Everything's squared up. Now what I want to do is mark the edge here, just like I do on my flat flags. And I'm going to put a pencil mark there, and that's where my razor blades are going to go. I'm going to tap them in, and that will keep a nice straight line for the stain. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's my line. Pull my stencil off. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a line there through 7 of my pieces, stripes. So pull these out. I'm going to put these away for a while, and I'm going to start putting in my razor blades. All right. I keep my razor blades in an Altoid box. I'll tell you what, it's great. See them all in there? Don't have to worry about getting cut too bad when you get them all in there. Now, take your razor blade, set it right on that line that you drew. Push down on both sides of the razor blade. A lot of times it'll fall over on you. Push it over just like that. There you go, see it? Now the blue will go right up to there. The red will go right up to there. And don't forget to do your top sides. Blue, red. Alright? Okay, I'm going to continue putting the rest of the razor blades in. And then I'll get set up for doing the staining. Alright. Now what I'm using is Minwax. I don't want to tip it because I don't want to spill it. But it's Minwax. wood finish. It is a navy blue. They will have to tint this for you at Lowe's or wherever you get your stain, as long as it's Minwax. I'm using a Gen brush. It's foam. I'm doing the ends. I'm doing the edges, just about a ½ inch in on each side. That way, if there is a few little gaps in there, you're going to see blue and you're not going to see white. I'm going to go along top. Just like that. Right up to the razor blade. And then I'm going to turn it on its side just a little bit there and get about a ½ inch in all the way along. Same here. Okay, now as soon as I'm done, this is very thick stain. So as soon as I'm done, I'm going to take my brush or my towel and I'm going to wipe that stain off of there before it sets up. I'm doing one at a time only on these. There we go. Turn it over. Okay, that's it for the blue. Now next is the red. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set these all in place. Which way do they go? Be very careful you put them the right way, guys. I got them numbered, but the numbers are on the back. So I really can't see what I'm doing right here. There we go. I got her figured out now, folks. Okay, now I'm going to do red. So the white ones now are done, okay? We got red. This one's going to be white, so I'm going to push it back. Got red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. I know, red, white. Okay, now I'm going to take the white ones and I'm going to get them out of the way because I do not want to stain them red. I pushed them. Okay, we got one out of the way. And so on. Two. Okay, I'm going to remove the rest and then I'm going to start doing red. Oh, hey guys. Here I am staining away again. Now I'm going right up to that razor blade. Nice and easy. Now this is the top piece, so I also have to do the top of the board. And I never seem to get tired of doing these. The grain just pops out. It looks so cool. Look at that grain popping out. And this was from wood that was going to get thrown away. That's the cool part. Now we can get all your ends. Real good. And then, like I said, go over a little bit on each side. That way if there's any gaps at all, it'll show red instead of white. Now I'm going to do the top. Now I gotta tell you guys, I really appreciate everyone watching my last video on the traditional flat flags. I was amazed at how many people were watching. I started doing this channel just messing around, but my God, you guys are really watching and leaving comments. I appreciate it. Alright, here we go. Like I said, do one at a time. Wipe it off because it dries quick and it dries thick. So that's why you gotta So quick at wiping it off. Quick touch up there. Uh-oh, here comes some people in here, my dog. Alright, there's the top. Put it there. Next, hopefully I will be putting them together tonight once the stain dries. Thanks, guys. Alright guys, I'm coming up on the last one now. I'm going to mark it so I don't hit the screws below it. 2, 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 3/8 drill and I'm going to go in about a 1/2 inch because I'm going to have to put plugs in here so you don't see the screws. Now you don't have to put a gauge on it or anything like that. Just drill down in there enough so you can get a plug in there. Okay, that's good for me. That's about a 1/2 inch. I think my drill's getting dull, to tell you the truth. There we go. Last but not least. Okay. Now, make sure you drill your 3/8 hole before you put the 1/4 inch one in there. Just like that. Okay, now I've got a little point in there where your 1/4 inch hole will guide in there. I'm just going to drill right through on my board. Just like that. Just like that. Sweep it off. Clean off the bottom. Get this out of the way for you. I'm going to glue it. Now my workbench actually has drawers that pull out on the back side, and they pull out just perfect the rest of these on, because otherwise I'd be working way up high in the air. I pull them out. I'll show you that in a few minutes here. Comes in handy. You actually, if you have a workbench, you might want to even build a shelf on there to make it easier for you. Get my Phillips, put my Phillips head back in. Okay. Again, I try not to make certain videos real long, but sometimes it's hard not to if you want to explain everything just the right way. And if you can't figure anything out, just leave a comment and I'll try to help you out. Okay, I'm going to show you what I got here. Okay, here's the drawers that I pull out. Okay, and here's the lines and the numbers that I put on there. So you can see how that helps when I put it together. Everything lines up perfect. Make sure they're both sides are lined up. Okay, it's all done. Now, I don't want to drop this thing, it's heavy. There we go. Looks good, don't it? I'm going to put it back up now because I'm not quite done in this position. I'm going to fill these holes now. I'm going to take this 3/8 rod, and I'm only going to cut about a 1/4 inch piece off of it. 3 1/4 inch pieces. They're going to go in them holes. I'm going to glue them in, and then I'm going to stain it red. Alright. I don't think you need to see me cut this on the bandsaw, so I'm going to just walk over there and do it right now. Okay, plugging the hole is nothing all that fancy. I cut 3 just little ones like that. Okay, what I'm going to do, put some glue on them. Just like, oops, sorry about that. Just like that. Spread that glue around. We'll stick it in the hole. Give her a little twist. I'm just going to tap it down a little bit. I'm going to tap it even. That's good enough. Okay, I'm going to do the other 3, and then I'm going to stain it. Okay, it's time to start putting our flag together. To do that, I'm going to use this 1/4-inch drill. I'm going to use this Phillips bit in my drill. We're going to use Tight Bond waterproof glue. I believe it's Tight Bond 3. And we're going to use these drywall screws, 2.5 inches long. See all that? You pick them up at Lowe's or anywhere. First thing we have to do is we have to take the very top piece. Okay, we're going to set that down on the, right down on the bench. Then we're going to take the second piece, okay, right here. On that second piece, I'm setting it right on top of the first one, and I'm going to keep my screw holes. I'm going to keep my screw holes towards the top. And you'll see why in one of my next videos that I'm going to do putting the hanging clip in. It's called a French cleat. So I'm going to keep them towards the top right about here. And I'm going to put 3 screw holes in there. Mark 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take the top piece, set it down. I'm going to drill my holes through this one, 1/4 inch. One, 2, 3. Now I'm drilling these into a old 2x4 right there, so I don't drill into my bench. Then I'm gonna clean that off. Make sure there's no schnitzels on it. Clean the top one off. Set it down. Take my glue. I'm going to try to keep the glue more towards the back of the piece because I don't want the glue squeezing out on my stain. Okay? There you can see the glue. Alright. I'm going to take my top piece. I'm going to line up. Remember them lines I put on there? See that line and that line? I'm going to line them up with the lines on number 1. Take my screw. 1, 2, 3. Line the edges up. Look at my lines. They're lined up real nice in the back. Just give them a screw. A little bit more. I want them heads to go down into that wood just a little bit. And the last one, number 3, screw. There we go. Now our flag's starting to go together. How about that? See how them line up real nice? Okay, got my screws. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to take my next board which is number 3. Line up, and then I'm going to look down on there because I don't want to hit the screws that I just put in this board. So I look down, move it away a little, and put a mark where I know it's not going to hit that other screw. Same here, and same over here. I'm just offsetting them screws because you don't want to drill through and then hit the other one. Same thing, I'm going to drill my 3 holes. One, two, and 3. And again, I'm keeping them holes towards the front because when I put my French cleat in there, I'm going to be countersinking all this wood in about 3/4 of an inch, and I don't want to hit them screws with my router bit. Okay, I'm just going to do one more here. You can watch me do it. I'm not going to have you watch me do all 13 boards because that would be rather boring. It's probably rather boring right now actually, but you know, you got to watch a little bit of it to know how to do it. Okay, line up my screw holes or my lines. My lines are perfectly lined up. 3 more screws. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. Oh, and I think I forgot to tell you, the stain that I was using for the red is called crimson. And again, it's a Minwax stain. And they will have to tint that for you. There we go. That's 3 of them together. Ain't that looking nice now? So if you take your time and you put all your lines on the back just right, it will all go together just right. Okay, I'm going to put the rest of it together, and I'm going to show you something you have to do on the final board to be able to plug the bottom of it. Alright. Okay, the plugs, just take a little piece of sandpaper, knock off the little burrs from your drill. I'm doing that on all 3. Okay, now I took a little bit of water to get the glue off. I just keep the water in a jug like this. Paper towel, just enough to wipe that off. Then I'm just going to dip my brush in my stain. Just a little bit is all you need. And I'm just going to dab it on there. I'm going to do all 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 3. Okay. I'm going to take my paper towel and just blend it in. Now all the screws are plugged in. Okay, there's your plugs. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to lay it back down on the bench and show you what it looks like. And the next step will be putting my template on and starting to trace the stars out. Okay. It is Sunday morning. I'm heading into the shop. It's 6:45. Long walk to the shop. Here we go. It's a mess in here, but I've been busy. Okay, today I'm going to put my template on, start doing my stars. I also have a traditional flag over here. I'm going to try and get the stars on that too. I have somebody that would like it by Christmas. Christmas is only a week away. Oh my gosh. Alright guys. Okay, I got the stencil on there. it's taped down, but you're still, because of the curves and everything, you're going to have to push down with your hand when you trace your stars out. It's a little monotonous doing this, but take your time, push down on each star, trace it out. Make sure they're kind of lined up with the lines on your flag so they're not off or anything, which is a little difficult to do because of the curves. Alright, I'm going to continue doing all 50 of these stars, and I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, that's the last star. Got all 50 of them done. Pull the template off. Alright, here we go, you can see it. There we go. See them all traced out on there. Alright, now I'm going to get my Dremel out, and I'm going to guys, so I've got them all outlined. I believe this is a 105 tip. I'm not sure on my Dremel because I threw the box away. But after I outline them, then I go with this 107 tip and carve out all of this in here. So that's my next step. Okay? Alrighty, I'll get them done. Alright, there we go. 50 and done. I got 50 done there. Now, a cute little thing. This little thing on the Dremel. It's a little fan that blows the chips away. It's an accessory that you can buy for your Dremel. It works great. Alright, I got this done. Now I'm going to be turning it over and starting to put the French cleat in, which is going to take some plunge routering with the router. If you don't have one of them, you can figure out other ways to hang these things. Alright, see you in a few. Okay guys, now I'm going to put the French cleat in the back. Now this is where it might get a little complicated for some of people. I mean, you don't have all the equipment, I understand. So you could use D-rings to hang it, heavy duty ones. I like using the French cleat. It is a pretty heavy flag. So I make a template for my plunge router. I have a hole in it, it's 9 1/4. It's 26 inches, 9 1/4 by 26 inches, okay. The entire piece is 33 inches by 15 inches. I mount it to the flag with 1-inch drywall screws. Then I have my plunge router set up with a 3/4 inch bit, and I'm going to plunge it down 3/4 of an inch to accept the French cleat, which is right here. Now the French cleat is made by 1 inch by 2.5 inch by 18-inch piece, and I just run it through the table saw and I cut a 45 on it just like that, and that will hold it to the wall. I will show you how that does hold it to the wall once I cut the undercut in here. So we'll have an undercut about 3 inches, about 18-19 inches long, and it'll be 3/4 of an inch deep. The French cleat will then fit down inside there. Okay, we'll see all that in a minute. Thanks. There's our French cleat. Look at that, fits right in there. Nice and easy. Now another reason, if you remember at the beginning, I said when you screw these together, keep your screws towards the front. That is why, because I don't want to be hitting my router bit on the screws poking through. So keep them more towards the front if you decide to go with the French cleat. Now this cleat will go this way, okay? Like that. Oh, I got the wrong piece there. Hold on. A little piece goes up at the top, okay? And it goes this way. Now I'm going to nail that and glue it in. This piece is a piece that will mount on the wall. Then it will slide up and it will sit flush on the wall. You won't have no gaps on your wall. It'll hang real nice. All right. Okay, I'm ready to put this piece in. The thin piece at the top. Put plenty of glue on it because it's going to be holding some weight. Hold on 1 second there. There we go. I'm going to put glue on the bottom and the top side of that. Here we go. Put it in there, just like that. And I've got 1¼ inch nails in my nail gun. No reason to skimp on that one. Now I've drilled these holes on 16-inch centers. So someone can put screws through here, 3.5-inch screws, 3-inch screws right into the studs of their wall. Okay. Then that mounts to the wall, and they hang the flag up, and that will slide right up in there when you drop the flag down on it, and it will mount flush to the wall. Okay. I'm going to give this back a little bit of a sanding, not too much, just smooth it out for my finish. I'm going to stamp my name in it, and then I'm going to start varnishing this baby. All right, guys. Perfect. Okay, guys, we're varnishing. We're using Helmsman Minwax. It's a clear gloss spar urethane, indoor-outdoor. Now, if you've seen me doing my traditional flags, it's basically the same thing. And you don't want to put it on too heavy because with all the waves, it will run in the waves. So try to do it pretty thin. You'll see it soaking in that first coat, especially on these 2x4s. Okay. What I try to do on the stars is I fill them stars in with varnish. And I do 2 rows at a time only. Don't try to push it and do the whole flag. Just stick with your 2 rows at a time, just like I do on my traditional flags. You can see how I'm filling them star holes up. I hope you can see that on the camera. And once I get them star holes all filled up, then I'll go in the seams, 2 rows, do the seams first, just like this. Take the edge of the brush, the foam brush, and let it slide right down in there, go all the way. Just dip your brush in the varnish once to do this. Like I said, you don't want it super heavy, but you do want it to coat it. If you think, oh, I'm going to put the varnish on heavy, that way it'll look more deeper of a gloss. But what you're going to end up with is a bunch of runs and all of these little waves here. And it's a pain in the butt to sand all them little runs out because it likes to It's not like a powder sand, it like rolls. Like, I hate to say it, but maybe a piece of wet snot. I know that's gross, I'm sorry. But you can see how I'm doing it. I'm not putting it on super heavy, I'm just keeping the brush a little bit damp. And once I get all the way to the end, then I'll take one smooth run all the way across it. Here I go, just like that. 2 rows. See how that 3-inch brush covers the 2 rows perfect? And then when you're done, don't be afraid to stand back at the end of the flag. Take a look down them rows and see if you got any runs. Keep an eye on them runs because it can be a pain in the butt to get out. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead. I've already done the back of this flag. 1 coat. I'm going to go ahead and finish this side up, and I'm going to let it sit overnight. Then tomorrow I'll come out, give it another coat, and the night after that, another coat, and it will be done. So I'm not going to have you watch me do the second coat. There's no sense in that. But I am going to sand each coat with 220, real lightly in between them. There we go. Look at that. Ain't that pretty? Beautiful. Alright guys. Okay, this flag now has 2 coats of varnish on it. Put the first one on, sanded it between coats with 220. This is the second coat, and I'm going to sand that with 220. And I just cut my strips of paper like this. I fold it up. Just like that. And then just take it, do 1 strip at a time and do it real nice. You don't want to take a whole lot off, just enough to dull it up a little bit. Take your time in between the curves. You do this, by the time you get that 3rd coat on and it dries, it's going to be beautiful. I'll show you, when I start varnishing with the 3rd coat, I'll show you my technique, alright? Okay guys, I'm finishing this 3rd coat of varnish up. I don't mean for my video to be boring, but you might want to watch. You see I go down the crack all the way. Just like that. And I only go 2 rows at a time. And try not to get it real heavy on your brush, because in all these little valleys you will get runs. And that is a pain to sand out. So I just keep brushing it nice and smooth. With my Gen 3-inch brush, it's foam. Keep working it out. If you put it on heavy, you're going to end up getting runs in every one of these little valleys, and it's not going to look good. So take your time, do it nice. I also want to say, if you're not used to using hand tools, I'm not sure this is the first kind of flag I would jump into using that angle grinder. You can look at my video of my traditional flag. That's a little bit easier flag to do if you've never done them before. But once you get used to running that angle grinder, these things are awesome. I just look at the finish on it. How can you not like that? I'm just going to say one more thing. I don't know. I'm jumping ahead to my next video, okay? How many of you guys have ever looked under your kitchen sink and seen the board rotted out on the floor because of trap spin leaking or the garbage disposal? Well, that's my case right now, and next week my project in the house is going to be fixing that. So if any of you guys want to jump into that project, feel free to tune in and I'll tell you how to do it step by step. I'm going to do mine a little fancier though. Doesn't have to be fancy, you can just use plywood, which I'm going to use. But then I'm going to put laminate flooring over that just to keep it a little more water resistant. So if you're interested in that, look up that video next. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll show you this one tomorrow. It will be done. Alright, thanks. Alright guys, this flag is done. It's got 3 coats of varnish on it. It's looking good. I appreciate everyone watching. I'm sorry my videos are long, but how can you explain how to do everything in a 10 or 20 minute video? You really can't. I'm coming to the back to show you the French cleat. Here you can see this piece here is permanent, okay? This piece, the customer is going to remove it. I wrote down the directions on it. Okay, once they take it off, they have to level it on their wall. I supply 3.5-inch screws. It's on 16-inch centers. And if they can't find their studs, I recommend that they use toggles. This customer, I also signed the back for them. They wanted it specially signed. It's Christmas. Put your name on it, got my card, and that's it. Now if you can't do a French cleat, I want to show you another way to do it. I do this on my traditional flags. These are D-rings. Okay, this will hold it. I'd put in some hefty screws though to hold it on a flag like the wavy flag. I put one on each side. And those are on 32-inch centers. Now here's what you're looking for. If you're going to make a bunch of flags, you might want to order them online. That's where I got these. Okay? So one more time. There's my standard flag. There's a video out for making that. I also have another video on the wavy flag, but it's an old one, and I kind of changed the ways I do it. So that's why I made this one. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing and all the nice comments. Have a great Christmas.